Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caro and today we will be doing an in-depth walk through my art studio. This will be the last studio tour that I do in this wonderful space. I'm pretty sad, but I'm also pretty happy, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. So let's start by what I'm currently working on. I'm currently working on this gouache and watercolor painting about the evolution of fungi. And as it's a little bigger than my working table, I'm literally just sticking the painting. I use watercolor paper, so I'm sticking the watercolor paper with artist tape to the wall. And I leave space just in case whenever I take the tape off, the paper rips. And this station is just like a temporary station that I make. Here to my left, I have some of the art supplies that I use for painting this one back here. And what I keep on handy are my watercolors, palette, brushes, and I'll go into art supplies in depth in a little while. And when I'm painting either here or on my table, I switch in between my kneeling chair and a regular chair that I have. So a lot of you have been asking about this kneeling chair and I really want to share more information about it. I got this chair back in 2016. I got it from Amazon and it's made by a company called Flash Furniture. I really like it, I really enjoy it. The idea of this kneeling chair is that it's ergonomic, so it's pretty good for your back. Of course, the idea is for you to work like these. Of course, you can also hunch, but that will make your knees hurt a lot and your back hurt a lot. So the fact that it doesn't really have a back is for you to work inclined, but keeping your back straight. Does that make sense? Okay, and something else about this chair is that the chair can be switched in 3 levels. So I usually use it in the one in the middle. You can have a lower one and you can have a higher one. This is a little too high for me, which ends up making my knees hurt. And I use regularly the one in the middle. It's been 4 years since I got these, so the cushion is getting not as firm as it used to be. If you're thinking of getting a kneeling chair, I would suggest, yes, it's wonderful to have one, but I would also keep in mind that it's pretty good to have both the kneeling chair and a regular chair. The only way that I'm able to work with this chair is going back and forth in between the kneeling chair and a regular one. When I'm only working with this one, after a few hours, my knees start to hurt. And if you get one and your knees start hurting for the first few days, that went away from me. So as soon as I got it, my knees hurted because they are not used to carry my body at all. It hurted for like 2 or 3 days and then it just went away. So that's everything regarding this chair. Yes. And next to my chair and my painting, I have the trolley cart. Usually up here, I keep the art supplies that I'm working with. In the middle, I keep all of my tech stuff, which is pretty much all of my hard drives, cords. My camera is usually back here. Right now I'm filming with it, so it's not back here. The camera charger, a few batteries, GoPro, so all the tiny tech stuff. And down here, I keep what I use the least from my art supplies, which are old watercolors, some glue, and I also keep containers with the color mix that I made. So let's say this container here has a lot of paints that I mixed with these paintings background. And I do that just in case I mess up my painting. I can always use this color here. I never use watercolors straight from the palette. I make my own colors. So these Tupperware come in handy. and I have a bunch of those back here. So currently the art supplies that I'm using for the fungi painting are watercolors, brushes, and these have become my new favorite brushes. They are made with maple sticks by Sugar House Ceramics. I have a recent video where I share all my favorite art supplies in depth, some of my inks. This is also a background jar that I'm currently using, and of course the rapidographs that I use for everything, and a selenite stone. Okay, so back here is the biggest painting that I've made up until today. It's still in progress, and it's been in progress for a very long time. I started this in July 2017. It's currently October 2020. The thing is that this painting, made with watercolors and gouache on watercolor paper, measuring 50 by 70 inches, is about the eukaryotic kingdoms. So that would be all the plants, which will go here, animals, fungi, and protists. I started mapping out the plants, then I went to the protists, and when I started the fungi, I realized that I don't really know a lot about the fungi evolution. So I decided to put this painting on pause, and that's when I started making my painting and my research on the evolution of fungi as we understand it. And I really can't wait to go back to it pretty soon. Here we have the plant corner and some futons. How do you call these? Here we have some pillows that are pretty helpful and help me when I'm painting in the floor. I paint in the floor a lot as well, or whenever I'm just reading or laying around. This is Vader's corner. He loves being up here. I put some pillows so it looks nice for today's video. All of our plant friends. I'm definitely working on a plant tour video pretty soon, so you can know more about these plant friends, but we've had them, most of them, for a bunch of years. Here we have our biggest books that don't fit in our bookshelf. Most of them are about art and science. And then here to the left, we have my pegboard. I love not only having a space that feels and is organized, but I also love having a space that, besides being organized, feels aesthetically pleasing at the same time that it really helps me be able to work pretty fast. What I mean by that is I want to be able to see and know where everything is, and that's when the pegboard idea came. This idea came from looking at Pinterest and art studios through Pinterest. So I got this acrylic pegboard from a company that I will write when I edit the video. If I would have to buy a pegboard again, I would choose to buy a wooden pegboard instead of acrylic, just because it's more environmentally friendly. And yeah, I just got the pegboard. I checked for the size of the holes, and I got these tools. These are pretty much what holds all the supplies. So yeah, you just put these guys here, and you put your art supply there, and that's pretty much it. I have the section with all my ruler templates, all the pens that I use. These are plant inks, more inks, color pencils that I use the least, acrylics. I have both Blick and Golden. Golden is my favorite acrylic brand at the moment. Rulers. Here we have all the paper rolls that I use. As I said, you can get to know more about the specifics on brands through my video about favorite art supplies. And down here we have my flat file. So we have both the flat file and my printer. This printer Evo got for me a few Christmas ago, and that's where I do all my prints up until 13 by 19 inches, everything bigger than that. So everything 13 by 19 inches or smaller, I print here at my house, at my art studio. Everything else, I work with a printing fulfillment company, which I also have a video on that. I love this printer. It was an amazing gift. It's the only one that I've ever owned, so I don't know if I would recommend it or not. A few weeks ago, it started acting up. It actually started acting up the same week that Lee Alexson uploaded her video about hating her printer, so it was pretty relatable. But we found a YouTube video that told us how to fix it, so we were able to use it again. Okay, so here is my flat file. I've always wanted to have a flat file since I was in printmaking school, and I found this one through Craigslist for, I believe it was 80 bucks, and the owner didn't use it for a few years, so he just sold it. And here I keep all the stuffs. So top drawer has all of my new blank paper and a few other things. Second drawer has all things prints and shipping, labels, stickers, business cards, tissue paper, and all the beautiful artwork prints are down here. On the third drawer, we have all the unfinished artwork, so art in process. And other stuff that I don't know where to hide. So all of these is work in progress. There's much more underneath. This is my favorite drawer. This is all the finished artwork that I have available and you can buy. All of this is ready to go. Some of it is ready to be scanned and ready to have prints of this stuff. And the last drawer is a disaster. Well, that looks pretty good, actually. This is just all the miscellaneous stuff that I have, and some printing paper. The downside of having a metal flat file is that it weighs a ton. So if you're thinking of buying a new one and you get to choose, maybe a wooden flat file would be better than a metal one. So before I keep on showing you around my art studio space, I want to take a few seconds of your time and thank Squarespace, who is today's video sponsor. Squarespace is the virtual home for my art portfolio, my website, and my online shop. And I don't know how to code. I'm not a graphic designer, and they have pretty user-friendly templates, so it's pretty easy for me to manage everything from my art portfolio to my online shop to how I ship my orders, etc. And if you're looking for a virtual home for your own creations or your own online shop, I highly suggest that you give Squarespace a try. We are offering you a 2-week trial with the code CAROAREVALO. You can try it for 2 weeks, and once you're ready to launch and buy your first website or domain, you can get 10% of that purchase with the code CAROAREVALO. So thank you so much, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video and for all the sponsored content that we've been doing together. This is my art table where I paint most of my small and medium format artwork. The table was 20 bucks. I got it from a neighbor that was moving out from an ex-building that I used to live on. She sold me the table for 20 bucks. She painted the soul horse. I painted the wood on top, and I believe that you can find Solhorse pretty much anywhere from Home Depot to Lowe's to IKEA, and if you want something like this, just paint it with acrylics or any house painting that you have on handy. I painted these white a few years back, that's why it's not white anymore. And I painted these with just like the painting that we use to paint the walls inside our houses. And what I usually keep on my table is what I'm currently working on. I'm working on a series on fungi, and these are the 3 that I've done so far. So I have my current work in progress. These are my handmade natural watercolors by Case for Making, my brushes, a few face mists by Minka, some of my plant friends, as well as a little sketchbook that I recently started. So there's pretty much just 3 butterflies on it. My to-do list for the current things that I'm working on. And that's everything on the table space. Let's go to what is behind my table, which is some plant friends as well as some books. Oh, and as I was mentioning earlier, I do go back and forth in between 2 chairs at the same time. So I'm using my kneeling chair for whenever I'm painting my fungi painting, and I'm using this outdoor chair that I brought inside with a pillow whenever I'm working on my drawing and painting table. Back here, I also want to share with you one of the most unorganized space from the art studio. So this basket here pretty much carries all the bigger tech stuff like my mic, batteries, cords, miscellaneous stuff that I don't really know where to put, as well as my stamps for whenever I'm shipping stuff, some vinyls that we have. Now let's go to check out the books. Here we have our color-coded bookshelf. We got the bookshelf 4 years ago from IKEA, and Evo decided to color code all of our books. And most of our books are related on the topics of philosophy, psychology, spirituality, psychedelics, art. We also carry a lot of knickknacks. Most of them have been gifts by friends throughout the time. And we also color-coded all the different knickknacks that go with the bookshelf. And on top of our bookshelf, we have a few plant friends. We have a spider plant as well as the photos. These photos has been struggling a little throughout the summertime, but it's coming back to life, thankfully. And we have a few other plant friends behind my art table. Another spider plant in this basket by Dupmont. A lot of the plants that I have are gifts from the sale. And yeah, I love all these plant hangers that are double. I have some that are triple. And plant friends are definitely a must for this studio. Not only to get inspiration from them for my paintings, literally, but also just to feel inspired while I'm making art. I miss nature a lot in Brooklyn, so having a space filled with plants is really helpful, and I love just pausing, not working, and then really focusing on taking the dead leaves off and watering them and taking care of them. So it really becomes a meditation being surrounded by all these plants. Oh yes, and now I can show you a little bit of where I hide all my shipping supplies. It's the least organized part of the studio, but it's still part of the studio. This is Lila. She is my grumpy assistant. I wanted to show you all the shipping supplies that I keep down here, but I think Lila is not really into moving right now, so So there's a lot of tubes and shipping supplies under here. Maybe I'll show you some other time. Yeah. Okay, so my OCD organized self is pretty ashamed of showing you this closet, but it is what it is. So in here I have boxes with my shipping tubes. There are like 4 more boxes behind all these mess, but I keep a bunch of my art shipping supply tools here. And yeah, shipping supplies, hoarder, very unorganized storage space. So that's everything on my art studio tour. If you have any further questions on the art supplies, on the organization, or anything regarding my art studio, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll make my best to answer as many questions as I can. And if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, where I also post a lot of amazing stuff. And make sure to check out Squarespace if you are looking for a virtual home for your beautiful creations. I will see you in my next video. Bye!